Bible underneath my right hand, I made it out of tight jams. Guns all on my nightstand, my life should be on Vice Land. My fingertips to hold the marijuana aroma. High school, I went to school high, still got my diploma. He got riddled and left alone for some Skittles in Arizona. The same time a man dies by his own for a pair of Jordan. It's crazy how we living, we all misguided children. Niggas out here getting got, trying to figure out how to get it. We the ones that's not afraid to let the hammers off. The same ones that feed the homeless with the cameras off. The life I'm living kinda hard to get a handle on, but I'm blessed and God knows I can't be mad at all.
When we first moved into the studio in Fat Village, we had this event for Reach, and I met Joey Wright. He is such a great person, great energy, and he's such a talented swimsuit photographer. His work has been around F-Stoppers and other magazines, and he's just a really good guy to talk to about anything creative. Uncreative Radio, what's up, Joey Wright? I'm so pumped that you're on the show, man.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Any excuse
to come
be here.
To come hang.
Yeah.
You came in on a one wheel.
I came on I came on one wheel.
You do this, though. People do this. My friend Willie in New York, shout out to Willie, they do this one wheel thing.
Yeah.
How have you not died? Is that safe?
Well, the first day is probably where everybody has their near-death experience, which I did.
Did you tell what's
20 miles an hour down that little cut over there.
Get out of here.
Flew off of it like just on the concrete.
Oh my God. Were you wearing it? You were just...
No.
What were you wearing?
Free balling. You know? And...
Joey Wright, one wheel, no pants.
Yeah, no pants. Bad move.
Yeah, balls
in
just
hindsight.
out.
Major mistake.
Yeah. So what happened? You
I rolled. I think I pulled my groin.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes. You road rash. You get cut up.
Yeah, I cracked my phone. I rolled, and there was a guy behind me, and you know what reminded me? Remember in Terminator 2?
This is hilarious.
When the
you're like, so it falls off of one wheel. You're like, look, remember Terminator 2?
Or when they're driving the semi?
Yes.
And it crashed, and then a helicopter crashes in the back, and there's a little guy in his truck, and he gets out like, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy was behind me, and
he's like, ugh.
And then I accommodated his vehicle. So no,
But you got back on it.
Yeah, he got it made somebody get out of their car. He stopped in the road, because he was driving down the street, and he saw me just fly like tumbleweed going,
Dear God.
And then I respected it more after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
So hold on, he came, so it's like a good Samaritan thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't like,
checked
get the
me.
fuck out of the way.
He checked on me.
Oh, that's good.
Not like the time. I used to rollerblade a lot.
Okay.
And make ramps and stuff. And I also, anybody that knows me really well knows I sleep. I nap a lot.
You nap a lot.
Anywhere, any conditions.
So you can fall asleep very easily. Very quickly.
As long as the environment is stable.
Yes.
Could be loud.
Yeah.
It's got to stay loud.
Stay loud. Yeah.
So
this is
if I just get comfortable, I can pass out anywhere, and I guess I have no fear of I was skating out in front of the house at this little ramp, and then I felt I kind of landed in the grass, and I was like, damn, this is comfy, and I just passed out.
Get out of here.
So on the swale.
Get out.
Right? And I woke up to my neighbor poking me with a stick.
That's ridiculous.
He thought I was dead.
That is ridiculous.
And he just poked me.
And he wanted to see. He didn't want to touch you because you could have been dead.
He didn't check my pulse.
Well, he didn't want to touch a dead body.
He just
didn't want to touch a dead body.
To me with
just stick to it with a stick. It's safer.
Yeah.
It's safer. Just poke it.
Yeah, at a distance. And I woke up. I was like, hey, yeah. He goes, oh man, I thought you were maybe had hit your head with the ramp, and I was like, I was just napping.
Yeah,
man.
I felt it was comfortable. I didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, I'm like, you just poked me.
But and on the one wheel, you got back on it, and you still do it today.
One wheel, yeah.
So it's like a story about failure or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Like Rocky gave me a speech afterwards.
Exactly. And now you still use it.
Yeah. Still.
So you became like the swimsuit photographer pretty quickly. You did it. I remember when you first came down.
Yeah.
You came in.
You're like, who the fuck is this?
You
guy?
came into the coffee shop. You're like, yo, man, and then we met. I thought you were really cool, and then you were from Orlando.
Yep. Well, I grew up here.
Yes.
But I was in Orlando. I moved back down.
And you came back down.
Yep.
And then and then everybody, you just blew up.
The funny thing is, when people ask, "Oh, how did you get into swimsuit photography or whatever?" I go, because I didn't have a studio and the beach was free.
If the beach was free.
So,
Right.
and you didn't really need permits. So,
Right,
and it looks nice.
Right. And it looks great.
It's the go-to. I mean, honestly, anybody in South Florida, if you're, just even as a hobby once in a while working with models, like you'll probably go out to the beach. That's kind of the easy go-to. Whereas up in Orlando, it's like going in a field with tall wheatgrass out in Nebraska or something.
Exactly. That's the thing to do out there.
That's your go-to
spot.
location for just a little quick, down and dirty, free.
Have you ever had a good being kicked out of somewhere story? You've got to have been kicked out of somewhere.
Yeah. Actually, I do have a good one.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is good. I'm excited to hear this.
Okay. All right. Let me think about this real quick.
It's always
set it up right.
It's always the worst thing too when you get kicked out of somewhere because you got people. There's stylists, makeup people.
Yeah. So I will say this. I'm cautious with anything that's like a production, where there is a team involved.
Right.
I'll tell them there's no option but to get the
permit. Right.
Yeah.
We got too many people.
Yeah.
We have a client like that in LA right now where they're just like, we'll just run around the streets. LA, they don't play. Like you pull out a tripod and they're like, hey. You know? So yeah, when there's a team, it's like, look, permit.
Exactly.
But when you're solo, you're kind of like,
right. So I used to in Orlando. I found this abandoned barn that became my go-to spot.
Right.
It was cool because it had a lot of different sort of features to it. So you
backgrounds.
could shoot in the field. You could shoot in this kind of really wide open lot. You can shoot in the barn. It's all like
wood and old. Yeah,
all that cool
awesome.
shit. Yeah.
Awesome. Light coming in, looking.
Absolutely, yeah. So there was just it was a playground for photography, and I probably shot there a handful of times. And I now at that time, I still had my day job, so I was doing graphic design and working for KPMG. So.
I didn't know you were a graphic designer.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I make my own flyers.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need flyers, Joey Wright
I
flyers.
made my logo. I picked the font.
Yeah.
So, so this barn I was shooting at regularly, and I would always go back to work. It was kind of funny because I sat in this cubicle job, and I had to dress, I had to wear I was supposed to wear a tie and everything.
Yeah.
I was kind of the one that was a little
rebel.
More, I was a rebel at work. Yeah,
I'm not putting a tie
I could
up.
tell because I'd do one button off, and then no tie.
Yeah,
and you could tell other people were upset.
Yeah, and everyone's like, I have a complaint to HR about Joey Wright.
Yeah, how does he? Why is he allowed?
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, one of the gentlemen, the older gentleman that I worked with, they'd always kind of poke in my cubicle and see photos that I was working on.
Right,
I didn't always have a ton of work to do at work, so sometimes I'd
pull out the
pull up
photos,
shoots and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember this guy Tom came in. He's like, "Oh, I know that spot. That's right in my neighborhood." Blah blah blah. He kind of explained it. I was like, "Oh, cool." Now that's it. That's all I knew as far as any type of connection to this location.
Right.
And so fast forward, I'm shooting there again. I had worked with this one lady who had hired me to just do these nice portrait photos of her or whatever.
Okay.
And then later on she goes, "Hey, I want you to shoot my boyfriend's band they need photos."
Here we go.
I was kind of thinking that maybe if they'll hire you, could you also shoot me? Just a couple for me, but then mainly it's for them. So she was kind of like weaseling her way into the shoot.
Weaseling it in there.
Yeah, and
that's one of my favorites.
So I took this. So I said yes, I'll shoot this band. Now it was like a country rap band.
Okay, I don't understand.
Okay.
So it's like
They were like, it was like a whole band of like Kid Rocks kind of, except they were more like they looked like they just got out of prison.
Sounds terrible.
They all had
Sounds like
tattoos on their
terrible.
face and like gold teeth, and they were redneck white dudes.
Redneck white dudes rapping.
Country rappers.
Awful.
So yeah, okay. And so it was an interesting group, and their tour van was like the white candy van. You know what I mean? It was like
no good.
Yeah. So
no windows.
everything was sketchy.
No windows.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
So, anyways, I took this shoot, and it was funny. On the way to the location, we were going to go shoot at that barn. It was made total sense for the country rap band.
Right.
And we make a stop at the gas station. And they're like, "Oh, we got to pick up some beer and stuff." Like, they're like turning it into it.
It's a day.
Yeah.
They're like, this
exactly.
is going to be okay. Yeah.
So, anyways, they pick up beer, and then we go to the location, and we're shooting. And there were like funny moments. Like the one guy goes, they're all trying to look really like kind of tough and kind of hard ass on, for the
and
shoot. He's like grilling me. He's like, hold on, I got an idea. And all of a sudden he pulls out this knife, and he's like, "Yeah, now how about now?" I was like,
"What are you doing?"
Yeah, why you had that? And anyways, I've never had an issue at this location before.
Right.
And then, of course, out of all days, that maybe it's just me and a model.
Yeah.
It's me and these like
whole team
dudes that
Whole
look
team.
super fucking sketch in a
Right.
white van.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cops come pulling up. I'm like, oh
boy.
shit, and I go,
Oh, boy.
let me be the ambassador here.
Right.
Okay?
Let me go talk to them.
Let me be the front man. I'll
Exactly.
be the face of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
You
I
guys
just feel like
don't say anything.
yeah. So, and there was one little moment I thought was funny right before they came. I'm talking to the woman who had sort of set it up
Yeah,
for her
yeah.
boyfriend, and I'm about to work with her, and I go, okay, how do you want me to shoot you? Do you want me to sort of do like soft natural light or with I brought my lighting so I could, and as I'm like saying that, the one guy comes out of the van, he's like, I got your natural light right here, and he pulls out the natty lights.
Get out of here.
Like right on cue.
God.
It was perfect.
He was waiting on that.
Well, it just was meant to be. Yeah. So
Sounds like a good group of fellas. Good group
They
of
were
fellas.
actually really fun to work with. It was a fun shoot because they were just, I didn't have to be sensitive at all.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
I wasn't walking on any eggshells. It was,
yeah,
you
they're
say
fine.
whatever the fuck you want to these guys, like nothing. Yeah.
They're fine.
In fact, if you go the other way and you're all customer service,
They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right,
You're
right.
just a like big pussy.
Exactly.
So, anyways, so the cops show up and I kind of come up to them and there was a guy with the cops. So there was like a truck with a dude and then a couple cop cars and they all kind of pulled up.
Mercy.
And I guess the guy in the truck, he lived on the property right next to the barn. So he was the one that called the cops.
Got it.
Yeah, now I didn't know this yet. I just see there's cops and a dude. And they're like, and I'm like, officer, I said, we're just doing a photo shoot. I'm actually one of my friends lives in the one of my coworkers lives in the neighborhood, and
Right.
I'm like kind of
You're trying
to like
you're
little
trying.
name drop
Yeah,
and whatever
yeah.
whatever connections I can.
Will help, yeah.
But then the guy calls me. I go, yeah, who's your buddy? Because I live in this house right here. And I'm like, I go, Tom, Wilkie, whatever. I say the guys.
Yeah.
He goes, oh yeah, I know Tom. And then he goes, well, if you guys need horses or anything, he said, we got horses. Blah blah blah. And it just
man.
180 because at
180'd
first
it.
it was like the
Yeah.
full court press
Yeah.
like interrogation,
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
soon as it worked, like I said the name,
I mean, good.
that was it. That's all it took.
Boom.
Right? It didn't matter. It's not like he was even there with us,
Right.
But that just changed
did it.
everything.
It did it.
Who right? So,
That
and then they were cool, and they're okay, because sometimes we have people that come here and strip cars and do some shady
Right.
stuff. So that's why we had to check up on it. And later on, I ended up getting we exchanged contact information because I felt like, okay, cool, now I know
Right.
the guy who lives on this property right next door.
Right.
And
I can talk to him beforehand.
yeah, they hired me to shoot both of their daughters on 2 different occasions for like their pre-prom photos or something,
that's hilarious.
so
Yeah,
I ended
yeah.
up getting work from them.
That's
and,
hilarious.
Yeah, we became buddies. So then they would let me take their little 4-wheeler even when I'd come and shoot. Like,
And
if you want
to go out there?
Yeah, to go out and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
out further or whatever, So like it worked
It's
out
the best
great.
thing ever. It's the best story. It's the best being kicked out story
It was
ever.
the best case scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, at first it was like, seemed like it wasn't.
Yeah.
right? And then the funny thing is, at some point, maybe it was the next time that I was in their house, because I went over there to do the shoot, and the wife was like, yeah, he was about to walk out the door with a shotgun. I was like, no. I
Yeah.
said, you call the cops and you let them handle it. I'm like, wait, you were gonna shoot me?
How are you gonna bring? You're gonna bring a gun?
He's like, well, it wasn't anything personal.
You're gonna bring a gun?
Yeah.
It's 3
Later,
p.m.
actually, there was another time that I was going to drop off. This is how old I am on a CD.
Yeah.
I was going to drop off photos
Yeah.
and pre-Dropbox days, and I had just finished up a shoot. So the hairstylist I was using at the time, she was with me in the car. I said, hey, do you mind if we make a quick stop? I'm going to drop off these photos while we're kind of nearby.
Okay.
So we rolled up, but it was nighttime, and I think I gave them a heads up that, hey, I'm going to come by later and drop off these photos. And we pulled up in the driveway, and Ian was her name. She was the hairstylist sitting in the passenger seat. We pull up to the house, and pitch black, dude all of a sudden pops up to the car with a shotgun, like or a rifle in his hand.
No.
And she's like, oh my God. I was like, what else? Say his name was Tom. I was like, Tom, don't shoot. It's Joey. I got your photos. He goes, oh no, there was a possum out here.
Stop.
Florida's a funny place where
Florida's
you could have like a straight up hood over here and then just country, like
country.
buckwheat, like whatever. I mean, it's such a strange.
Why is it so weird? Why is Florida so?
I don't know.
I mean, if
This
you're,
is why
if you're
Florida
in-
Man exists.
If you're in Gainesville, it's like you're at the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's like you're just like, what are you guys doing?
Do you know about Florida Man?
I know about Florida, man. It's bad.
Yeah, the phenomenon.
It's bad.
Right?
It's bad, man.
Just look up your birthday, Florida man, and your birthday.
And you see something crazy.
There's
there is something.
There's definitely 365 days. In fact, you have options when you pull it up.
It's bad.
You're going to have good 10. Pick out your best Florida man headline.
It's terrible, man. Yeah. And I think, but it's weird living here. Now, we're in this little annex down in like South Florida, Miami, where it feels like it should be connected to like New York or something. We feel like the North.
We think,
but man,
we're not.
Every time you take a drive up, you're like, holy hell.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. In Orlando, it's like you drive 20 minutes and now you're in, there's horses in fields and, you can completely change geographies in
very, very quickly.
10 minutes. Yeah.
That's so wild.
Bizarre. Yeah.
How do you feel like in photography now has changed? Like, I mean, obviously digital stuff is obviously taken over, but photography to me, like the industry in general, like people think like iPhones coming out, people think like, they can do it. And I, you deal with clients, I deal with clients. You were telling me that horror story earlier. But just, people think like, and you probably hear this all the time, like, oh, this costs so much. Like, my favorite is when they're always just like, I could just do this with my iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, that my iPhone shoots in 4K. I could just do it's like.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it's funny. There's times where I tell people, I'm like, listen, you don't need me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for what you're asking.
For what you're trying to do.
Just take pictures with your phone.
Just go for it.
Or people that say, hey, what kind of phone? I'm going on this trip. I'm like, just you got a phone?
You got a phone? Go for it.
Use that.
Have a blast. It's interesting because sometimes the things you say no to and things you don't do.
Yeah.
And the things that.
But what I think is cool about now in the industry, look, there's always a positive spin on it.
Right.
So the complaint you hear from more seasoned photographers, everybody's a photographer.
Right. You hear that.
Okay. Well, if not everybody's a good photographer.
Right. Correct.
Right? The ratio is still the same. It's just more people.
It's more people, that's for sure.
If you're good, you should actually have an easier time standing out of the crowd.
Because it should be easy to go crap.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
Because there's so much crap.
And then for you elevated because you still shoot, but then you elevated. You teach, you
and that was the other thing I said. So, okay, you're looking at it as a problem. Everybody's a photographer. I'm looking at it as an opportunity. There's an opportunity here to teach everybody that wants to be a photographer.
Right.
So,
and you did that.
Yeah. So I do my workshop every year. I have the tutorial I did with f-stoppers that still sells, over 3 years later. I mean, it's crazy that, people still reach out. Hey, I'm watching your tutorial right now. That's amazing, and that's cool too, because 3 years later, it's still relevant. It doesn't change necessarily,
right.
I'm not, luckily I didn't do anything that dated the tutorial. So it wasn't really about. And this is what I always tell people when it comes to, what camera are you using? It doesn't matter. Think about this for a second. There are historically like epic and iconic images. It's not like the best images that were ever taken happened this year on the latest Nikon.
Yeah.
No, they've been taken forever on dinosaur cameras, on a potato.
And if it's a great image, who's asking?
Right.
Like, who's asking?
Yeah,
like, really.
And this is what I tell people when they say, what camera? Listen, if you want to just think for a second how important or not important the camera is.
Right.
Scroll on your Instagram, right, and you see all these photos. Okay, what can you tell? What can you instantly connect with each photo, and what can't you? Right? I said you could probably the first thing you'll be able to tell for sure is maybe who shot it.
Right.
You might be able to identify. Okay, then second, you could maybe take a stab at the lens, but you're kind of guessing.
Sure.
Because it might have been cropped or whatever, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're still taking a guess. Try to take a guess what camera was used to produce any given picture,
right,
and it's literally just a wild guess.
Yeah,
That's it. So that's how unimportant it is.
Right.
If you can't tell, how much does it matter?
Exactly.
Right. So it's the operator. If you can tell who shot it,
right,
that should tell you. That's the most important thing. So
that's the style.
Don't worry about your gear.
Exactly.
Take whatever the fuck you have. If it's just a phone right now,
and go out.
Go make good images. Go make something interesting. Show people something that they haven't seen before.
Right.
And that could just be. It could be the same building that a million people have seen or walked by. Show them from a different angle at the best time of day. Oh, look at the door.
Look at this. This is Allie.
It's our next.
This is Allie. This is Allie and Tater right here. Inside of Uncreative Radio. It's like.
That's one of my friends / clients. Yeah.
Yeah. We should talk to her.
We should.
You should let her in. Hey. I don't even know what to do. Hi.
We're in the middle of my interview only because I was late.
Hi.
And
you look great. Hey, dude. How do you feel like, as obviously you've worked with so many different fashion brands as they kind of grow. What has been something that, like, for you've kind of like, what have you kind of taken from photography? What's something that when you get behind the camera, what are you looking for? Like, what's the mindset you're in when you're shooting?
I think every time I try to be careful of this, is to let clients know, people who are hiring me for the first time, let's say, that, look, I show this version of work that I like. Right? Now, if you want to just sit back and not, just let me
really
take the reins completely, right?
Here I go.
This is basically
you're going to be in this realm.
Yeah.
Right.
However, if you want, maybe you think my work's a little more moody than what you want or whatever, so you can tell me that, and I'll adjust. And so I try to let people know that it's, I don't really have a one size fits all approach to it, and there's usually a discussion. I always try to figure out what exactly the client wants.
Right.
I'll look at what they have currently. Right. Say, hey, do you want to continue with this theme? You got this really like bright, punchy kind of look going on.
Right.
We could do that. That's fine. That's easy. Whatever you want to do, you just have to let me know. Right.
What's a Saturday morning with Joey look like? Like, how you getting up? What you doing? You got nothing to do.
Well, like today, I woke up.
You're terrible. He woke up like 15 minutes ago.
12:30. But here's the thing. I actually, I have, I'll tell you something. In the last year or so, I've kind of made it a point, and I'm sure you can completely relate to this, that it's easy to sort of become, married to this job.
Yeah.
In the sense that you're never off the clock.
Ever.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's a nice thing that I did work for a long time in sort of corporate world,
right,
where there is a schedule, there's set working hours.
You felt that, right?
And I started to finally, I kind of started to miss that a little bit.
Right.
Not the job,
but just the the structure.
Yeah. The work-life balance, having some time that you don't feel any obligation to anybody else except for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that I think I lost that for a while.
Right.
Where there was no off the clock,
it's
right?
Business it was going all the time.
There's always something to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in this past year or so, I've gotten better at sort of budgeting my time more efficiently. So I'm turning down more jobs now than ever.
Right.
Because I've sort of figured out what my breaking point is, where I start to feel a little overwhelmed, stressed out, or burnt out is a better word. Not so much stress, but burnout.
Burnt out, right.
And as anything that's creative, this happened to me with graphic design. I loved it for a while, and then I kind of just got burnt out. It's too much.
I'm doing it so much,
I don't want to fucking think about a font again.
Right, ever.
So I don't want that to happen with photography. So I've always tried to protect that.
What do you do to really get your mind back to zero?
I think it's important to have some part of your social life that is completely outside of photography.
Absolutely.
So I have a good core set of friends that are all photographers, and then I have a group of friends that and they intermingle
some of them
sometimes,
right.
But they have nothing to do with photography. So when I'm around them, I'm not talking about photography. It's
right.
like I actually get a break.
You're actually
from photography.
Just living, right?
Yeah, and I think for a while I would shoot all the time. I only hung out with other photographers, so I never got a break from it.
Right.
And you need that. I mean, I think with anything in life, you want to love something, you got to miss it too.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to want to get back into it. Now, everyone looks at you and you're like, everyone looks at anyone that's shooting swimsuits like you're shooting these half-naked models. It's gorgeous. That's why you're around them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What is that like? Do you even think about that? Because that's what everyone, I'm sure, asks you a ton of time, all the time. Like, hey, Joey, like, what's it like? You're shooting all this. I wish I had your job.
Exactly. No, you nailed it. That's for sure. I get that a lot. And here's the thing that I just kind of tell people. I said, look, first of all, as with I'll start with this. My buddy, his dad, my best friend's dad, had said to us one time. He's like, "Hey, remember, work is just something so awful. They pay you to do it. Okay, they have to pay you to do it.
Right.
So, and I say, look, there's still work. It's work at the end of the day. Right?
Oh yes, it is, man. Yes, it is.
And so it's not like let's load up my schedule, as many shoots as possible, because it's just,
it's just the funnest thing ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna. No one wants to hear Joey Wright complain about work, right?
No one wants to hear it, but people don't see the other side of the photos.
So most of the so what a better thing to answer, instead of say what's a typical Saturday, is what's a typical week for me, right? So maybe it's a couple shoots. So let's just take this past week.
Yeah.
Thursday, I shot e-commerce, which is basically just those really simple, clean photos in studio of every look for a brand, right?
Absolutely.
So it was like 150 looks. It's all for the website, the front, back, side,
left,
whatever.
right, what they're selling. Yep.
Exactly. And so that was Thursday, and that was cool because I have my home studio set up.
Yep.
And then yesterday, a brand that I had done a shoot for before, they hired me to come and do a live shoot at their grand opening. They just opened a store a couple miles away.
Okay.
So I went in, set up a little studio, and then they hired a few models to come in and jump in front of the camera.
And you shot them?
Sort of had it air playing to a TV out in the main area. But it was cool, actually. It was a very interactive situation, and anyways, so it's just these kind of random things. It's not the standard, if you look at my, say, Instagram, where probably most people come across my work, it's just model on the beach, right? It's all models on location. That's not
what you're doing all the time.
That's not 100% of my job.
Exactly.
Right? So the reality is it's not all, but when I'm there, when I am in those locations, I'm really trying to get the most out of them, because that is going to be the content that I feed out there. That's my shiny bait.
Absolutely.
Right? It's my portfolio. That's the stuff that gets attention. And then you hire me to go shoot at your store.
Absolutely.
Shoot your brand in a studio, and it's not that exciting or whatever. It's cool, though. I mean, it beats the hell out of my old days. So again, not complaining at all.
About it, right?
Yeah. And I've had all kinds. I've had so many jobs. It's which makes me appreciate it every day, right? I never feel like I'm going backwards.
100%.
Okay? I've done construction. I was busboy. I was server. I worked in a movie theater and a costume shop and blah blah blah. All this crazy shit. I was a daycare teacher.
Nice.
I had all these wacky jobs, and so nothing. This is the best job for me, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, it really sort of captures my, best skills,
right,
and uses all of them in one place.
Yeah.
So I love that. So back to the whole sort of the week, whatever. Like this coming week, I'm shooting for Hard Rock, like the brand, right? So they're apparel. So it's going to be a day on location, a day in studio.
Right.
So it's just these different things. And with something like that, I need to make sure, and this is where I think a lot of photographers mess up, honestly, is the shoot part is fun. That's easy to say yes to.
Oh yeah.
You need the time to process the images, right?
Absolutely.
You need that back end.
And that's the killer.
Yeah. And it's the not so fun part. It's the part that you somehow forget about,
and nobody sees.
Right.
Nobody sees you sitting at the loft editing, and you know what I mean, like
till 4 or 5 in the morning, whatever it is.
Right.
And that's the part that I've gotten way better at. If I know I've got 2 days of shooting, I want 2 days that week just cleared. I'm not going to schedule any more shoots. So if somebody might come, hey, are you available this week?
Yeah.
Technically, yeah, I'm not shooting every 5 days that week, but I've got 2 days of shooting. I need the other 3 days
to work
for planning the next week's thing, for editing the shoots I just did, and then the 2 days of shooting. So I've gotten way better at just really being a little more realistic to the time required for every shoot. So I've turned down cool, fun stuff at times.
Yeah.
Because
you got stuff to do.
Because I'm gonna, you know what's gonna happen is I am going to. It's going to be a lack of service to the other client that I already said yes to.
Right. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
So what I'll do is end up doing a mediocre job for
this one client,
both of them, because I just crammed too much in.
Absolutely.
So I've gotten better at chewing off what I really can swallow. You know what I mean? And not going past that. So that's been a big difference, and I feel way more at peace nowadays because of that. So it's been a good thing. And then also, like I said, just having some time for me. I think some photographers try to basically get everything out of photography. So it's like they get their paycheck out of it. They get their fun, their creativity going out of it. They get their socializing out of it. They think they're meeting women through it, right? It's like all these. No. Like, you need to separate some of these things. What is it to you? If it is a hobby, hey, sure.
Because people, when they look at social media and they see what you are doing, they're like, oh, he's figured out a way to meet women and they're you know what I mean? But the
reality is you couldn't go 6 months doing this if that was your motive.
You couldn't. The models
you'd be called
they would
out.
destroy you.
Yeah, I
They would
mean, I
destroy
remember,
you.
I would always, I kind of say that this sort of half jokingly, that if a model thinks I'm gay by the end of the shoot, I did a great job.
I did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should almost be
good.
like that.
It shows they feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
They feel very comfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably,
Because, I mean, if you think of what they're doing, the only way they're going to take these type of photos is they feel comfortable with you.
they have to.
They're not going to if they don't.
Yeah. that's
And if
it.
they feel like
and they'll
they're-
tell everybody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Girls will absolutely do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's like very commendable for you. Like if people are taking those type of photos, they feel really comfortable with you and they
Yeah.
don't feel like they're being taken advantage of or they feel like there's some ulterior motive or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I think that's like a.
I've experienced this before with a girl I dated a couple years ago because I met her parents because they didn't live around here. So it took a couple months for me to finally meet them. So,
Okay.
but they'd see my work and stuff.
Right,
and
right.
I think they sort of prejudged me a little bit, like, oh, this guy's just, you know, like,
here
he's just
for
around
he's here
chicks
for
all the time.
boobs
And
and,
yeah,
like
it's real ass man, huh?
Yeah.
So I finally met them, and they loved me, right?
Right.
In fact, I think it was funny because they almost were like, I could almost tell that they thought, like, you know, what are you doing with her? Like, she doesn't have her shit together yet.
Right.
Kinda, you know,
like
and
what
do.
are you trying to? You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And they're kind of like
they were almost on Team Joey.
Joey, like Joey,
in this
Joey,
relation. Yeah.
get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
man.
and when things were slipping and you know, not to point fingers, but
Absolutely,
when let's
yeah.
say she was getting upset, they'd usually tell her, like, hey, you're gonna lose something.
this guy. You're gonna lose this guy.
Yeah, so it was kind of
Right.
cool to prove.
I think that's
them-
interesting. People do think that you're not as good of a person or as authentic because you know what I mean. As this is what like they may think that you're just only
Yeah.
doing this to meet chicks when really it's like when they meet you, it's like no, this is who I am.
Right.
That's interesting.
And it's a requirement for the job.
It's a requirement for the job.
Trust me, I know photographers
That are just out here.
It's the ones that are sort of in it for the wrong reason. It's usually not their job.
Right. They're doing something else and then they're just like,
Yeah.
hey, come to this.
Because my little thing is, nobody's gonna put me back in a cubicle.
Yeah,
I'm not going back.
I'm not going back, baby.
I'm not going back. Okay, so no, you know, that's the thing. It's like, listen, don't flatter yourself because I'm not gonna try something with you that puts me in a position where I might end up back in a cubicle.
Right.
Right. Where
Absolutely.
I lose this.
I lose what I'm doing.
Yeah,
And
this
it could be
is
real- and
way
it
too
could-
more
and it could be
too
quick.
important to me.
Right.
Yeah. So you know, and I know there are people that are like, oh, do you ever date models? Like, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with you shooting.
Yeah, and
If
I
you
have
find
this. Here's my advice to photographers that maybe come across this. You know, oh, should you or should you not? It's not a. Don't make it a black and white thing. Just
Right.
use some common sense. What I've seen happen where it's gone wrong is a photographer does a shoot with a girl, and you know, let's say they're both single.
Yeah.
Okay, everything is
Yeah.
cool. They're
Everything's cool.
adults, whatever. They can
Sure.
make their own decision, and they hit it off, or whatever. They hit it off, but hey, maybe she's just being friendly because she's friendly. And
yeah, right.
Right.
She's
And-
just trying to get through the shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I said, listen, if you think there's a little vibe, don't even act on it until you have finished the shoot. And I don't mean the end of the day. I mean you've delivered the images.
Right, after.
Because if, and I've talked to a model about this before. They said, yeah, so-and-so wanted to hang out with me. And here's the dilemma for the models.
They feel like they have
if
to.
I say no, am I not going to
They
get my
pick-
images?
Yeah, they feel like they have
like
to.
it's a hostage situation.
Yeah, that's horrible. You don't want to put anyone in that situation.
No, that's stupid.
Right.
So, you know, look, I think just as, you know, life goes on, you kind of tend to maybe make, and whether it's friends or girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever it is,
Right.
it comes from the circle of people that you're around the most. In high school, it's not the people in your school, it's the people in your classrooms. In you know, college, it's the people that are, you know, you're around there, and then you'll get into work stage of your life or career mode, and it's sometimes, like in my last job, I dated somebody that I worked with.
Right,
because
right.
Now, the funny thing is, and I explain this to people because sometimes this can make somebody really insecure. What I do
Right.
when I'm
Absolutely.
dating somebody.
Absolutely.
That's a tricky-
You're dating somebody and you're shooting photos like this, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Yo, I'm not cool with this."
Yeah, and so here's the thing that I've explained before, and when I worked in my last day job, right? I would say I worked in this sort of corporate, you know,
Yeah.
very HR environment, kind of,
Absolutely.
right?
Right.
Guess what? There were so many like fucked up affairs and things going
Absolutely.
on there. You'd see people
Absolutely.
literally walking out to parking lot together, holding hands, and then they get in their cars and they go home to their families.
Right.
Okay, so they're having these little work relationships.
Absolutely.
And that was the thing. in that job setting, I would explain to people, I said, listen, would you rather have me now, first of all, this much happier version of me because I'm doing something I enjoy,
Right.
that I don't feel like the life is sucked out of me every day, or miserable me before, working Monday through Friday. I don't get to make up my own schedule, therefore
Right.
I'm not always available for you.
Right.
Okay. And by the way, the chance of if you're really truly worried or I haven't earned your trust yet,
Right.
the chance of something going
Being
off with that
Over here
is
is
way
far
greater
greater, right?
over here
Absolutely.
because here's the thing, over there you create relationships with your coworkers. You work together every day.
Right.
In fact, you spend more time around them usually than your spouse.
Absolutely.
So you actually
More chance.
and you are you're forced to be on the best version of yourself.
HR,
You're all
perfect.
you show
Yeah.
you show up nice. You can't be a slob. Whereas
Absolutely.
meanwhile, your spouse gets the like tired at the end of the day version, the just woke up, look like shit version, or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like over here at work, they all get the perfect version of you.
Perfect version.
Yeah, it's like not even real.
That's a really good point.
Okay, and meanwhile.
Over here, you're doing a shoot for a couple hours.
Yeah, it's really like, okay, you're in hair and makeup. I haven't
Yeah.
even talked to you
I
yet.
haven't talked to you
Then
yet.
we start shooting. I'm just giving you my little speech. We're shooting. We're done. Hey, great to meet you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
That's it.
It's like-
and I probably won't see you again.
Right.
Ever.
Or remember your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's
interesting.
It's you don't have time to form, and that is something I learned. I took this class, and it was kind of one of those goofy classes that you just took in college to just get the last credits, but it was marriage and family. But I really liked it because
Right.
it brought up a lot of interesting points. And one thing was that how they talked about how when it comes to affairs, women are more worried that the guy had a connection with
Absolutely. It is
with
not
another
about,
woman.
It's not about the sex.
No. And then for guys, it's the opposite.
It's all about it.
I don't
Absolutely.
care if you have a
It
guy
doesn't matter.
friend that you have
No,
a
no,
good
no.
connection with.
No,
but
no,
it's
no,
like,
no. You better not.
yeah. Right. So,
Right.
in this case, it's like I don't form
I don't
connections
form that.
with anybody,
I'm
really.
not
I mean,
there.
it's like I make friends. Don't get me wrong. Like I
Sure.
make friends and,
Sure.
and if I'm single, then like, oh, cool. Like this person was really cool. And, when there's some thing down the road, a group opportunity, hey, come out.
Everyone
like,
come hang.
It's more like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never take it. I'm very careful with that. It's just,
Absolutely.
it's not worth it, man. I have such a good thing going on. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, I'm shooting chicks, whatever. No, I just mean that.
No,
Like I
you're-
found a job that
you're
I
the
get to
perfect
be
balance.
creative.
Yeah.
I love right now. What's nice too is that I'm teaching. So I've got my workshop going on. I do my Twitch thing
Yeah,
every week. I
absolutely.
do the shoots, but the shoots are different. Sometimes they're in studio, sometimes they're on location, sometimes I'm traveling abroad. So there's just a good amount of variety happening right now,
Yeah,
and
man.
that is to me the biggest thing. Like if I could tell anybody to try to find and seek out of a career is like find something where there's some variety, because
Absolutely.
sitting in a cubicle and knowing what I'm doing tomorrow,
Yeah.
and 3 days from now, and next week, and next month,
Same.
and the month, and the month.
Absolutely.
That's
rough.
what
soul killing.
that is. Yeah, it's
So tell people how to stay connected. Tell people your Twitch. Tell people how to get in on Instagram. Tell people a few things.
okay. Well, Joey Wright Photo is basically my handle for everything.
Boom.
Okay, so that's like the one-stop
Yeah.
shop is just Joey Wright Photo. But the main things I'm doing right now is I would say all of the work, or the social media platform I use most is Instagram.
Yeah.
That's where you can just kind of see my
See
work.
everything
like,
that's happening.
Almost every day I'm posting something new. And then once a week I'm doing live retouching on Twitch, which to anybody that doesn't know what that is, just a live stream platform that really is mostly taken advantage of by gamers, but it's
yeah.
starting to spread.
You are doing that, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's the perfect
Yeah.
thing. I mean, you're getting a 1-to-1 of my screen.
Absolutely.
I'm getting to answer your questions
it's
in real
live,
time.
right.
It's live. It's
very
cool.
cool.
It's fun. And it's actually it's funny because I feel like Instagram, it's social media, but it's a little bit more of I feel like I'm driving down the street, like throwing the newspaper at the house,
Absolutely.
right? It's like, here's my photo. Here's
Absolutely.
my photo. Here's my photo. And yeah, you like it.
And
Whatever.
it doesn't seem as real.
Twitch
you're like
you're fully
you're in
engaged.
there, right.
Yeah, it's a two-way communication, and that's
Absolutely.
what's cool. So now, for the first time, photographers said, "Hey, Joey, you like this?" And it's these short little comments, and now we're having full-on conversation,
which is far more rewarding.
Yeah. I'm doing photo critiques.
Yeah.
And I'm still testing the waters. Actually, I made a little survey on SurveyMonkey the other day, and I got on Twitch and say, hey guys, I put together all the different topics that I do, like whether it's Photoshop retouching, Lightroom culling, Capture One color grading, photo critique. Sometimes I've done these. That was a suggestion from viewers, was a challenge Joey night, whatever. So they send me a photo that they can't figure out how to retouch or fix something in it. And then I do it live. And I'm not like practicing. So it's cool, right? So I gave him this little survey. I'm like, here's all the things I've done. Just put them in the order of what you like the best. It was like one of those, just move it to the top, whatever. And now, okay, they like this the most. That's great. Right. So I do photo critiques on there live sometimes, and I just use a Dropbox link to take file submissions. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, that's something that it's still growing slowly but surely. But I highly recommend it to people that join me on there once a week. It's usually Monday nights or Tuesday nights, so that's a cool thing. All these links, by the way, are on my Instagram. So basically, I would
find
say
Instagram
find me on
as the
Instagram,
home.
Joey Wright Photo. Click on my little profile link, and then there's like quick links to all this stuff: my Twitch, my tutorial, my website, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So it's all easy to find. Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
I'm not hiding anything out there.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This is just awesome. I feel like everyone who's a photographer is going to listen to this and be writing it down as like their Bible.
I hope so. I would love to do more stuff like this, and it's cool. I just really like the. I will say, leaving off with this, maybe 10 years ago or so, there just wasn't a lot of camaraderie in photography. A lot of ego.
A lot of competition.
Yeah.
This is mine. This is my spot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's changing big time. And things like this are great to go in the other direction.
Absolutely,
so
dude.
That's cool. So thank you for doing this. This is really cool.
More to come, man.
Yeah. We need more people like you it's really connecting everybody with the people that are most like-minded.
Absolutely.
And that's cool. You don't get to go out in the street and you don't bump into another photographer or creative.
Absolutely.
They're hard to find. We're out here. We're scattered.
But you had to be really intentional about it.
You're bringing it together.
Absolutely.
So that's very cool.
Well, dude, this is called Rapid Fire.
All right, let's do it.
All right. This is Rapid Fire. I got a bunch of questions. You just have to answer them as fast as
Hit
possible.
me. Okay.
Like you just as soon as you got them.
Yellow.
5. Okay, ready?
Okay, yeah.
One piece or bikini?
Bikini.
Okay, good. That's a good answer. I would agree. If you could shoot for one place for the rest of your life, where would it be?
Maybe Hawaii. Hawaii's epic.
Hawaii.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
got it. Okay, Fort Lauderdale Beach or Miami Beach?
Miami Beach.
Okay.
Key Biscayne.
If you could be one of these people, who would you be? R. Kelly or Bill Cosby?
Bill Cosby, because he's about to get out of it. Natural causes.
Natural causes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Middle seat or aisle seat that doesn't recline?
Middle seat or aisle seat that doesn't recline? Aisle seat that doesn't recline. I can.
You can
go
still
sideways,
go on the
put
side.
a leg out.
Put the leg out.
Yeah,
This
and
leg out, which is the thing.
Yeah.
And finally, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
Backstreet Boys, duh.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joey Wright. Check him out on Instagram. And dude, thanks for coming through.
Thank you again for having me.
All right, bud.